baby? Me, your me, Louie T. Welcome to the 2018 NFL Draft Prospects 101 series, your guide to some of the biggest and hottest names in the 2018 NFL Draft. We're talking running backs, and I'm talking about a guy today that, if I'm hearing correctly, in draft circles, he's falling. I don't know how true it is, but his name hasn't been coming up that often as it was earlier in the process. We see this every year with a guy that starts out hot, and as the draft gets closer and closer, kind of fades a bit. His combine wasn't that bad. It wasn't overly impressive. Neither was his 2017 tape. He dealt with a number of injuries. His 2016 tape was a way more fascinating and much more fun and entertaining to watch. But again, injuries have to be taken into consideration, and he did show a level of toughness in 2017 that you didn't have to really gauge in 2016. So in any event, I'm talking about LSU running back Derrius Guice. Guice, baby. Doom, doom, dooba, doom, dooba, doom. I'm talking Guice, baby. But in any event, let's talk about his pros and why this guy can be viewed as a first-round pick by many, but probably most likely will end up a second-round pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. You start with his size and speed at 5'10", 224. That's good NFL back size right there. And running that 4.4, 940, I thought in 2016 he'd be faster than that. But watching him on tape in 2017, that sounds right about where he should be in terms of speed. Anything sub 4.5 and you're flying. And so the guy can run. Is he running away from NFL defenders? I don't know. Maybe one with an angle probably will catch him. But the guy that I saw in 2016, and I don't know if he can get back to that guy or not, the guy that I saw in 2016, you weren't catching him from behind. That guy was explosive. He was dynamic. And every time he hit a seam, he was gone. I don't know if that guy's ever coming back again. Maybe it was the injuries. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe last year, or 2016, I should say, was an aberration, and that's not really who he is. I don't know. Bottom line is 4.49, plenty fast for the NFL game at the running back position. Once again, that is way more speed than you need at the running back position. Quickness and acceleration. I think he's got some quickness to him. He can make some moves, some subtle moves in the hole. A carry that looks like it should go for about 2. He'll squeeze out 5 on a carry. He's got some acceleration. Like I said, 2016, if you really want to see him accelerate, that's where you really need to go. You didn't really get to see him open it up as much in 2017. He did have a 1 or 2 games where you said, okay, that looks like the Derrius Guice of 16. I think there was one game in there where he rushed for over 200 yards, but those games were so few and far between in 2017. So you really didn't get to see the acceleration like you did in 16. But again, it exists. It's there. And I think that's something he'll be able to tap into if healthy at the next level. Agility, contact balance, yards after contact. I thought he showed a level of toughness in 2017 that he didn't have to show in 16 because he was the home run hitting guy. Remember, it was Fournette and Guice in 16. And so Guice got to be the lightning to the thunder that was Leonard Fournette. And so when Fournette went down, Guice took the opportunity and ran with it. And he was hitting all kinds of explosive plays and being dynamic. But the dirty work and the heavy lifting was being done by Leonard Fournette. In 2017, he had to do the heavy lifting. He had to be the hammer. And so it took away, I think, from a little bit of his explosiveness, but it also showed a side of Guice that we didn't see in 16, a guy that could run in between the tackles, that could get the 3 yards on a carry on first down and be that 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of back if need be. So he showed an element of toughness in some games where they had to grind it out, like against Florida or a game against Auburn where it's a close game. I thought he showed some things, Derrius Guice. Toughness, durability. Like I said, he was not healthy in 2017. Had an injury early in the season. It never really fully healed, if you ask me. So, but he played through it. And so I give him a lot of credit for that. And I think you saw a level of toughness that NFL teams can respect with Derrius Guice. So I think that's going to also earn him a few stars in some NFL war rooms as well. Receiving ability, Is he a natural pass catcher? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that. He's not, obviously, not Saquon Barkley in that regard, but I don't think there are many backs in this draft that are natural pass catchers. And so I think he can catch the football. They threw it to him at LSU in the screen game and things of that nature, and he caught it. I didn't think he looked that bad at the combine catching the football. So I'd err on the side of saying, yeah, he can catch the football. There's some receiving ability there. And so I'd roll with him as a guy that you could have on the field in third down situations as a pass catcher. And why can you put him on the field in third down situations? Pass pro. To me, of the backs, the big name backs, and I'm talking guys that you'll probably see come off the board in the first 3 rounds, big name backs, first 2 rounds, 3 rounds if you want to extend there. He's probably the best at pass pro. He's probably the most willing to stick his nose in there, get dirty, get physical with guys, cut when need be, but really I'm just looking to go head on with whoever is trying to come and get my quarterback. And I think that's what you see out of Guice more times than not, is a guy that's willing to put his body on the line to make sure that you don't get to his quarterback. And that's what you're looking for from a guy in pass pro. Making sure you identify the MDM, the most dangerous man, and then you go and you attack the MDM, and he does that more times than not. So I'll take Derrius Guice over most of these backs in this draft at pass pro, as I thought he was very effective when watching him on tape. Stamina snap volume. This is a guy that stamina-wise did a lot of good things at LSU. He did split carries, and again, he split carries with Fournette in 16, split carries again this year. But I think he's a guy that if you need him on the field for all 3, I think he'd be more than willing and capable of being able to do that. So again, I see that as a pro heading to the next level. Versatility. He's versatile, but not as versatile as some of these backs in this draft. He's not as versatile, of course, as a Saquon Barkley or as a Rashad Penny. But I think he does offer you some versatility in the form of being able to catch it, to be able to run it, being a first or second down back. But if you need him in third down situations, I think he can offer you that as well. So there is a little bit of versatility. His ability to block, I think, helps him a ton in that regard as well. So I think there is a little bit of versatility, enough for it to be a pro for Derrius Guice. Ball security, 2 career fumbles in his career, but none in 2017. So again, for a guy that did have a heavy workload at LSU in 2017, didn't put it on the carpet. And so for me, that's huge. That's what you want moving forward out of your NFL starting running back. Patience. I think he has good patience, enough to where he can allow things to develop. I'd actually like him to be a little bit more patient, but again, I'm nitpicking, and I really don't like to really get into that with running backs. Again, I'm not in his shoes, so I don't really want to go and dive too deep into that, but I would like to see him be a little bit more patient at times to allow plays to develop a little bit more. Maybe that run that was for 4 yards that looked good could have easily been 8 or 14 had you allowed that guard that was pulling around to actually come in and deliver a block, instead of being a little bit too anxious running up his back and not allowing him the time nor space to work to clear out enough space for you to go and maximize that run. So that's something I'd like to see him do in the future. But again, I think it's good enough for it to be a pro at this time. And leg drive, he's another guy with a big lower body that when he gets the football in short yardage situations, can find the first down marker. When he gets down by the end zone, can find the goal line. These are the types of guys that I think separate themselves from some of the other backs who don't possess that kind of toughness, that grit and tenacity and determination in situations where it's mano a mano. You're fighting with a guy, you meet him head on. Who's going to win the battle? Usually low man wins, and a guy with strength and leg drive wins those battles as well. I think Derrius Guice is one of those guys that can win those battles and get you that first down, get you that touchdown in some crucial situations. Cons. Vision. I don't love his vision. I think there are situations where he leaves meat on the bones. Translation, there are yards to be had that are left on the field because he's too quick and too decisive on cuts. And it's funny to hear someone say that you're too decisive. You normally want decisiveness out of a back. Indecision is usually one of the reasons why a back isn't very good, but sometimes you can commit to a cut, or you can commit to a run or an angle too quickly, and it really destroys the essence of a play or what it could have been. And sometimes I think there are backside cuts that should be utilized. And again, I do not like to get into cuts and visions and what a back should have done. I'm not in his helmet. I don't see what he sees when he sees it. So again, us watching on television, it's easy for us to say, oh, you missed a huge cutback lane. But as a dynamic back, you want to be a first round pick, you can't miss those huge gaping cutback lanes. There are some that you watch with guys saying like, you probably should have cut that one back there, brother. But in any event, I think his vision could use a little work. And to me, vision is one of those things, either you got it or you don't got it. You don't learn how to acquire vision as a back. You don't acquire feel for certain things. Either you got it or you don't. It's innate. I just don't think his vision is all that great, which is why I personally don't know if Derrius Guice is a first round back or not. If he is, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Be late first round. I don't think you spend a mid first round pick, but if you want to take him in the mid to late 20s, early 30s, knock yourself out. I think he's a good enough back to take there. But if you're talking 15, 17, 19 even, I think you might be jumping the gun a bit on Derrius Guice, because you got to have vision, elite vision, if you want to be a first round back, in my estimation. Make you miss. He's not, I don't see him juking anybody out in space, man. He's got quicks and things of that nature when you're talking about in and around the hole. But when you start talking about out in space, I don't see Derrius Guice really juking the draws off of anybody, breaking a dude off, leaving him at the 30 and going ahead and rolling for another 15. He might give you a stiff arm, you know. I don't see him breaking a dude off or putting a nasty spin move on somebody, putting them in the spin cycle. Nah, that's just not his game. If he can outrun you, he will. If he's got to run you over, he'll try. But he'd much rather just drop this stiff arm on you, see how that goes, and then keep it moving. So I don't think he really does enough to make people miss out in space. Again, another reason why I can't see this guy being an early first round pick. If you want to spend a late round first on him, go ahead, knock yourself out. I have no problems with it. But early to mid first, these are certain things that you just gotta have, and he just doesn't have it. Awareness, again, I think his pass pro is top notch, but awareness to know, all right, they only rushing 4, we got 6 in here. I'm not necessary, let me get out. Again, college backs, what is he being asked to do in his scheme? I don't want to kind of overdo this, but again, same thing I said about Saquon Barkley. I don't know what he's being asked to do. I don't know how he's being taught to do it. But at the next level, if it's 6-man protection and there's only 4 guys rushing, you don't need to be in there as a back. Get out and make yourself available for the quarterback as another eligible, so that the quarterback can dump it down to you if there's nothing else there. Maybe he got confused by the look pre-snap. They looked like they were coming with 6. They dropped out 2 guys. They only came with 4. Quarterback thought he was going somewhere with the football. Those 2 guys that dropped back, dropped right underneath into where he wanted to go with the ball. Now he needs a safety valve. You need to be there to be that safety valve in that outlet. So again, awareness, who to block, when to get out, get into the route, that kind of stuff. I'd like to see that improve. But again, I'm asking that of a college player. Let's see if he improves when he gets to the NFL. But that being said, that's Derrius Guice in a nutshell. I think this guy's got an opportunity to be a first round pick. If you love Derrius Guice, if you love what you saw in 16 and a combination of what you saw in terms of toughness and grit in 17, maybe he's a first round pick. But for me, he's a second round back. I think that's when you're going to get the most value out of this draft class, is in the second round. But in any event, you're going to see the score I gave him and where that ranks with the rest of the backs. So check out his rating and all the backs in this draft and all the other players that I've broken down in this draft, their rating on LouieTnetwork.net to see where they rank amongst their peers and amongst the rest of the draft class. So that's going to do it for your man Louie T here with Derrius Guice on the Draft Prospects 101 series. Remember, we changing the game over here, period. I've got many more running backs to break down, so don't you go anywhere. I'm your man Louie T, signing off. See you next time. Have a good one.